What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, and we're back with another second look at a tune by the one and only Duran Duran, as I continue to go back through some of their catalog and give a more knowledgeable and nuanced look at music from their excellent catalog. And those who remember will know that the song we're about to listen to, the Chauffeur from Rio, is one of my all-time favorites from Duran and was from the very moment I heard it. Now back then my reaction style was a bit less polished, a bit different, less on the cerebral side, more on the visceral side, and certainly there are pros and cons to both sides of that spectrum, and I'd like to think I've learned to incorporate aspects of both sides of the spectrum, even if now, again, I lean a bit more toward the cerebral type of reaction. Nevertheless, again, I absolutely love this song. I've listened to it many times since I first did that reaction. Shout out to Izzy, who in particular gave a lot of insight and enthusiasm about this tune when I was going through my American version copy of the Rio vinyl, and eventually I did get the double disc Rio Deluxe Edition CD. But yes, not only do I love this song, but as I've come to think, I mean, that was very early in my Duran journey, and at that point, you know, I had heard a few songs from across their catalog back in the 80s and 90s, but hadn't really gone through the albums in full or even heard a lot of the tunes since the early period. You know, the ones that I knew, I still hadn't heard them in a very long time. But yes, since I've gone through their full catalog since then and heard a lot of live performances, I've come to realize that this song is perhaps a bit anomalous in their catalog, more so than I thought. Which is to say, you know, a lot of their tunes are like energetic synth rock, they have a new wave flavor, even when you get into the later decades. You know, there's still this electronic energy to the track and so on. This one is very atmospheric, it's dark, it's a bit mysterious. You know, it reminds me perhaps a lot of the Arcadia album, more so than maybe a lot of the early Duran. Nevertheless, it is on their second studio album. And yeah, so basically, I think it is fantastic and indicative of the quality they had from the very early stages. But more than when I first heard it, I see it as, if not an outlier, certainly a less common type of tune sonically in their larger discography. And yes, again, I just love the kind of wicked and dark and yet still alluring and colorful atmosphere of the Sonics. The lyrics, again, I remember people talking about them, and I think there's some lines that are expressed through the sonics of the track and also speak to an implied and in some ways explicit narrative that, again, I think you can view in different ways. I will say I've also reacted to the music video. I think it's up here on YouTube. At the very least, it's over on my Patreon. And yeah, that was also interesting. I mean, it's in a black and white visual scheme, and, you know, there's some scenes, and there is a chauffeur driving sequence, as well as like a dancing sequence at the end, where I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh, there's a bit of nudity here. I'm surprised this video is just up on YouTube. So yeah, the video is an experience in of itself separate from the song. But bottom line is, right from when I heard it up until this moment, it is one of my favorites, which is interesting because, again, one of my favorites, Careless Memories, a very different tune than this. Come Undone, a different tune, even if it is also a bit dark and mysterious, but different than this one. So yeah, this is just a unique track in their catalog, and I'm hugely fond of it. Let's give it a second listen. I will stop talking at this point. This is Duran Duran. The track is The Chauffeur, and it's from their 1982 sophomore album, Rio.
Lights are moving, oh, looking for a new place to drive. You sit beside me, so new and charming, sweat Melting dewdrops glisten, flashing your side. And the sun drips down, bedding heavy behind the front of your dress, all shadowy lined. And the droning engine throbs in time with your beating heart. Way down the lane away, living for another day. The eight-bit swam up in the drifting haze. Swim seagull in the sky towards that hollow western isle. My envy lady holds you fast in her gaze. And the sun drips down, bedding heavy behind the front of your dress, all shadowy lined. And the droning engine throbs in time with your beating heart. And the sun drips down, bedding heavy behind the front of your dress, all shadowy lined. And the droning engine throbs in time with your beating heart. Sing, blue silver. I'm watching lovers part. I feel you smiling. What last winters lie so deep in your mind? To tear from your eyes with a thought to stiffen brooding lies. And I'll only watch you leave me further behind. And the sun drips down, bedding heavy behind the front of your dress, all shadowy lined. And the droning engine throbs in time with your beating heart. And the sun drips down, bedding heavy behind the front of your dress, all shadowy lined. The droning engine throbs in time with your beating heart. Sing, blue silver. Sing, sing, blue silver.
More to this kind of camouflage. More than just color and shape. Who's calling now?
What do you even say? It's just incredible. And again, it's like I feel like a lot of their 80s material is defined by the huge hit tracks, Rio, Hungry Like the Wolf, and rightly so. But a tune like this shows me, and as if I already needed more evidence, and of course, you folks out there, Durani's, going way back, and ultimately, who were there for these albums and concerts at the time, like, they weren't just making hit music that would definitely be on, regular radio play. They were making art tunes as well, and I think this is a perfect example of the latter. Now, it is notable to me that I've reacted to some concerts and, live releases from Duran. I don't think I've ever seen this in a concert playlist. Now, I haven't gone through all that many bootlegs. I have like one or two, I think, in entirety, and maybe like a couple tracks from another one. And then, of course, I've done, I think, 2 live albums, Arena, and what's the one, the Diamond in the Mind. Like, I don't ever remember hearing a live performance of this, and the 2 times I've seen them in the last year and a third or so, they didn't play this track. So it doesn't seem to be a staple of their live shows. But yeah, ultimately, I think it's just an incredibly atmospheric song, well composed, all the different layers, the way they unfold, and the way the tune sort of gets more saturated and saturated as it goes along. I especially love the flute synth, which I'm assuming is just on the keyboard, but it really does sound sort of like a light woodwind. And again, when that drops and the beat really kicks in, in terms of percussive power after the first Sing Blue Silver, like that moment, people will remember my reaction originally. If you've been here for that long, that's when I was like, oh my god, I can't even believe what I'm hearing. At that moment, it just really is a magical transitional moment, and the emphasis that it has is fantastic. And every single time since, I still feel that, even if I don't react quite as dramatically and visually or viscerally, it still hits me with the same experience. So yes, it's just a brilliant tune, absolutely top track, and will be so 1,000 years from now. So once again, shout out to all the Drainies, including those who've joined more recently, but a special shout out to all you who were there from the early phase. And as I said, in relation to this song particularly, big shout out to Izzy, who I remember talking to about this song in the wake of that reaction. So yeah, it's a top tune. I'm thinking maybe for my next second look reaction, I might do another one from Rio. I'm thinking of doing Save a Prayer, because that is an epic track, and one that they did play at both of the concerts I've seen them at in the last couple years, or last year and a half. So yeah, maybe that'll be the next one. Let me know what you think here. I'll see you next time. Peace.